Hello guys, I'm going to show you the Twitter sentiment analysis project. Uh, in this project, which basically we are trying to do a very simple NLP project and then try to find the sentiment analysis of the Twitter. The data that we have is actually is a CSV file of the Twitter, which basically includes some context and also the sentiment, which is either negative or positive. What we do, the basic idea is that we have a student main file, which basically is the whole training process, pre-processing and the training process. And after that, we have the test mode, which basically they try to save the model and try to come in here and try to work on it to see how the model works. And here's basically the solution file. So after they import the dependency, they try to connect it to the Google Drive to have access to save the model and access to the CSV file and so on. So basically, how are we doing here? We have some to do. Basically 20 to-do parts, which we want them to actually complete. For example, we provide a link for them to actually go over them, and then here is um, the task that we want them to actually achieve. Basically, this part plots the distribution, which is going to be something like this. So they so that this balanced data sets. They do some pre-processing, for example, like removing the emojis and then making all the data lowercase, replacing the URL because it doesn't include any useful information. And then, for example, so many other pre-processing that are required basically will come in here. The provided link will actually provide them some information for the after they finish this pre-processing, they will go over to analyze the data. They will create some workout for the negative and positive is going to be look like something like this, which is basically showing basically the cloud of words which usually associate with the negative sentiment, and then the same for the positive. And obviously, since it's an ML model, they need to exploit the data. After that, they create a TFIDF vectorizer, which basically corresponds data to the number of occurrence. And after this vectorizer, we try to transform the data and then create the evaluate model. So the evaluate model will try to consider three separate models: a Bernoulli naive, a linear support vector, and then logistic regression. For each of this, we may basically try to see how they react. We have a corresponding confusion matrix, which they will show them, for example, the rate of their positive, negative, positive, and true positive and true negative. And then what they do at the end in here, they try to save their model. When they save their model, they will come to the another basically um, Jupyter Notebook, and then try to basically connect again, and then load their model, and then all of the pre-processing stage which is required, as well to have the same distribution of data. And then finally, they put some sample tweets in here, and then they try to see basically what's the sentiment. So this is the main project, but we also think that if they want and they have extra time, we also want them to actually experience using some ChatGPT API. We're going to use this deep learning AI tool, which basically give the free API key which they can access to. For this one, they need to provide. We need to somehow provide the CSV file online. For that, I probably will try to put it in a GitHub, and then they can basically try to read the file and then try to basically generate response from the ChatGPT. So what I'm thinking at the moment is that we can consider the different approaches. The first approach can be like just directly ask the ChatGPT agent to basically come up with the whether it is a positive or negative. But that's going to be like a very simple. Another approach which we will also consider is that we try to let the model learn how this sentiment actually works. So we give the model the data sets in the PDF file. So this one is something else. I haven't done it yet, but this is going to be a very similar process. So they will actually try to give the agent the process of how, for example, the mapping is going to be look like for the positive and negative, and then finally they're gonna, as a user, they're gonna ask, for example, and now let's do some tests. This is going to be the second step, and then they can actually provide some way to actually compute the confusion matrix. Finally, if they have enough time, the third step would be to basically actually also do some RLHF, or basically including some human feedback into it. So basically we can provide some sort of like few-shot learning basically by the user, which is going to be as simple as, for example, letting the model know that, for example, this input that they said is not correct, by providing some input in an iterative manner. They try to actually come up with a better result at the end, and then they can finally compare the results of their basically ML model and a model that they obtain from the LLM approach.